Hey guys, how are you doing today? My name is Otto and welcome back to the channel. This is the DJI MINI 3 Pro and this is a video with a few tips and tricks for the Mini 3. I want to keep it short and simple, so let's get on it right away. There are going to be times where taking off from the ground is not going to be possible. And even if it's possible, there are many times where I prefer not to take off from the ground because of the amount of dust that gets lifted and can get inside the drone. So learning to use your hand to take off or to land is going to come in handy for those situations. You need to remember that your hand is not a landing pad, so extending your hand in most cases is not going to be safe. And I say this because the drone can flip over and fall to the ground. The way to take off is to grab the body of the drone with your fingers, press the takeoff button, hold the drone up in the air, and confirm takeoff on the controller. You are going to feel when the Mini 3 pulls up, and that's when you should let it go. I recommend not to do this at face level or anywhere near your body just to avoid any kind of accident. So make sure to raise your arm so the drone is above your head. To land the Mini 3 Pro, you want to get the drone in position to hover right above you. The way I like to do this is to grab the controller with my left hand, pull the left sticker down, and then reach the drone with my right hand and grab it with my fingers. I think it's always a good idea to set the return to home altitude when you get to a new location. And you have to make sure that this altitude is higher than the highest tree, building, or obstacle around there. If you activate the return to home command, or if the Mini 3 has to return to the home point for whatever reason, you don't want any potential obstacle between the Mini 3 and the home point. A great feature that we now have on the Mini 3 Pro is that we can activate obstacle avoidance. And I believe that most of us will be using it, right? If you activate this, there is an option that will get enabled by default, and it says that it will disable the ability to fly sideways. And this option will not allow you to move the drone using the stick to the left or the right. So whenever you select to use the obstacle avoidance to bypass any obstacle, make sure to disable this option unless you need this specific feature. So now that we're talking about obstacle avoidance, there are two things that you need to consider if you're going to use a sport mode on the DJI MINI 3 Pro. The first one is that obstacle avoidance will not work if you select to fly on a sport mode, so you need to be extra careful about it. The second one is that because the Mini 3 is going to be flying faster, you need to take into account that braking is going to take a greater distance. And I say this because a lot of beginners have the wrong idea that a drone will stop immediately after they stop moving the sticks or when they press the pause button on the controller. There are going to be times where you can't see where the Mini 3 is up in the sky. If this happens and you want to fly back manually, you can open the map where you're going to see the drone and its current orientation. The blue dot over here is where you are, and this shape here represents the Mini 3. During the flight, there will be a red line and a blue line. The blue line will show you the path where the Mini 3 has been flying, and the red one is a straight line between you and the Mini 3. So if you want to fly towards yourself, just rotate the Mini 3 towards you and fly using the red line as a reference. Getting extra batteries for the Mini 3, it's a great idea. You know, more batteries, more flight time, more fun, but they do get a little bit expensive. You can buy the Fly More kit, which comes with 2 extra batteries and some other accessories, like a charging hub to charge up to 3 batteries, and a carrying case like this one, which, by the way, I never use. You can also buy a single battery for just $65 for the regular one, and I think that this is a great value without being over expensive. You can also buy this other battery, which is $95, and it will give you about 9 minutes of extra flight time. and it will make the Mini 3 Pro go past the 250 grams limit. If you don't feel like buying an extra battery, a good idea is to carry a power bank like this one. It is light and small, and it will let you charge your battery between flights when you're out there filming. I used this the other day when I only had one battery for the Mini 3, and it took about 1 hour and 15 minutes to fully charge the battery on the Mini 3. And that gave me enough time to get a coffee and something to eat, which was a win-win situation. If you're going to use ND filters on the Mini 3 Pro, the best way to install them is when the drone is off. If you do this when it's on, you risk damaging the gimbal. To place the ND filter, the first thing you need to do is to remove this frame on the camera. So hold the camera gently and twist the frame counterclockwise like this. And now, to install the ND filter, hold the camera, place the ND filter on this position and twist it clockwise. These ND filters are from the brand Freewell, and I've used this brand in the past on my Mini 2 and my Air 2S with great results, and all the video clips that you see on this video were using different ND filters from this brand. If you're not sure which ND filter to use, there's an easy trick that I like to use. I set the exposure that I want to use on the Mini 3, and then I place the ND filter in front of the camera like this. And this allows me to see in real time the exposure that I'm going to get. Here I tried an ND16, but the image was still overexposed. So then I tried an ND32, it was giving me a good exposure, and that's what I used on that specific flight. For people that are still learning or still get confused with the control sticks, I used to have this little trick way back when I used to fly helicopters back in the day. The idea is to label each of the control sticks. For example, I could label this one with an A for altitude and this one with an F for forward. Or you can print something like this and use them as stickers. If you play or used to play video games with a controller like this, you might want to try to use the DJI controller on mode 1 instead of the default mode 2. And you might actually find it easier to use the left stick to make the drone go forward or backward. Quick shots are preset flight movements that are easy to use even for beginners. The default resolution is set to 1080p, but it is capable of shooting at 4K. So I highly advise to always double check this and manually change it to 4K if you want to shoot at the maximum resolution. I'm hoping that this video has been useful, and if you have any other tips that you want to share with other pilots, you can use the comments down below. I hope you're having an amazing day. My name is Otto, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.